told, or they have this perception that, buy-side agents are free. They can buy a home for free anyways. What's the point of trying to do it themselves?
Yeah. Well,
care to dispel that myth?
Well, you and I last transacted. You bought your house, 4 years ago. So did I, in 2017. I used an agent. I didn't think I was paying. Did you?
Yeah, I used the same agent, and I also didn't think I was paying.
Right. And why is that? Because the industry has described it as who actually pays the check as opposed to the fact that there is significant cost there. So this actually goes back to the 1970s, where a seller would pay a co-op buy-side, seller agent would pay a co-op buy-side agent, and they would go around, this is with a human network and no digital network, of course, at the time, and go find prospective buyers for that property and pay them something when they did that. So the buy agent was actually working for the sell agent. Fast forward 50 years, those two have nothing to do with each other. There's just 10,000 agents, 120,000 agents in Canada, but the payment still happens that way. So the world's moved on. We all now search for properties online. We do all our research online. There's a totally different dynamic happening in the market with tech, but that old practice remains, and so the buyer is actually paying for the buy-side agent because they're writing a check to the seller, who is then paying both sides of the deal. So if you're a buyer that shows up to a property without a buy-side agent, you're going to pay 2 to 3% less, or you could pay 2 to 3% less, and it would be the same amount of money to the seller.
Yeah, like it seems so disingenuous or just opaque to even be able to say that. Like, it blows my mind there's not an industry. Like, how is there not some standard there that says, no, the fees that are going to get paid in the transaction have to be upfront? Like, why is that not? Like,
yeah, I think there's an obvious industry change there of have the buyer pay the buy-side agent, because the seller has nothing to do with the buy-side agent. And in fact, neither is a sell agent anymore. That used to be the case, now it's not. So the buyer should say, who is the best buy-side agent for me, if that's their preference, and how much do they cost? Let's do a deal. Like any other service that any of the rest of us procure in the rest of our lives. And that should be regulated to not be percentage-based, because if it's percentage-based, then you're in this spot of you're paying, your buy-side agent is actually encouraging you or is incentivized for you to spend more on a property, not less. And they're supposed to be your negotiator. So
that's insane.
So that's totally backwards. Absolutely.
So obviously from a seller's perspective, it's a little bit different in the sense that if the agent gets more money for the seller also benefits there. But from the buy side, it's so backwards. Like, what if I, as their client, pay more money, they make more money? So why wouldn't they try to encourage me to make a highest offer I possibly can?
Yeah, and many do, and that's what we saw in this marketplace report, where
there's a word for it. It's called steering.
Steering. So buy agents telling buyers to, go to this property, not that property. This one I'm going to make more on because it's a higher price, or what have you. But the whole problem there is, what does the buying agent's preference have anything to do with the buyer? The buyer should be totally empowered to. They're writing a big check. They're making a big decision. It's one of the biggest investments. In fact, most Canadians, it's their biggest it's their biggest asset that they own. What does that have to do with a buying agent's interest? Those two things should be totally pulled apart, and a buyer should just be empowered to do everything that makes sense to them to find the property that fits their needs, and without manipulation and without this immense cost, and being told that it's free all at the same time.
Ugh, buyers just have it so hard right now because they have to think about, am I being steered? Am I hiring someone who is not aligned with my best interest? And in the end, it's already a super emotional transaction, right? You're looking for your home, the place you want to raise your family, the place you want to make yours, and you're not sure, for sure, that transparent information is coming at you. And so, I mean, in the end, our buyers all need to be armed with the information they need to make the decision that's right for them and their family situation. And the industry is not set up for that at all right now.
Yeah, and if you have, and that's been part of the reason why agents persuade buyers to use them, is they've got marketing. They know sold prices, they've got a number of market pieces of information. But now platforms like us, in fact, we're one of the only ones that has all this information available to buyers, so that they've got all the information they need without any filter on it, just what they want and what they see. So that has the benefit of understanding the market better and being more confident without any strings attached, without any other manipulation in the system. And I think that's absolutely a critical foundation for making change in the industry and empowering buyers, because without it, you're back over into this other world where you're competing with your own interests with an agent, and you're paying the money you don't think you are, and you end up on one of the biggest transactions in most people's lives completely pissed.
And from a seller's perspective, why should they have to pay for a decision that the buyer made in terms of their representation? You know, I think back to my buyer situation, and when my husband and I were going to look at houses, I actually felt bad asking my realtor to book showings for us, because I was thinking of putting him out because he's not getting paid for this. So I'm putting him out. I'd really like to go see that house, but it's on a weekend and I feel really bad because, he's probably doing something really exciting that weekend. So I felt like, maybe I shouldn't ask to go see that house. And I was literally thinking, maybe if there's just a way that I can go see the house and then tell him that I liked it later if that's what we were going to do. Isn't that insane? So Canadian, but also at the same time, what was I thinking?
Well, you're like many, I would say the majority of the market.
Oh.
Thinking that. One thing that I thought in my own personal experience as well was, if I'm not totally serious on this place, but I want to see it because I want to understand this community and values and pricing, I really felt uncomfortable getting him to set all that up for me, when I would just prefer to go myself. And of course, at the end of that, I shouldn't have, because I also paid him a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, but you also saw a lot of houses.
I did. I like to do my research.
And we made an offer on the third house we looked at. And so, all said and done, what was I doing using an agent when I walked in the door of the house, fell in love with it that minute, made an offer 2 hours later? I mean, the number of hours that realtor put into that transaction was 5. And I still felt bad about that. I felt bad. It's so ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.